Oh my god. Holy cow. Welcome to the Homeless Fisherman Q&A. I'm at a friend's apartment right now because there's a hurricane coming in. I know, second hurricane of the year that I'm going to be sitting out, which is cool. I don't think this one's going to be as bad as the Houston one, and this is even the Houston one wasn't bad, so this is basically just gonna be a rainstorm. But so here I am in my buddy's apartment. I got the lovely green screen behind me. I don't know what I'm gonna put on the green screen, but I thought it would be super funny just to put it up and change it out. But we have a Q&A today. I put up a little poll on Instagram, little thing, and we got a lot of questions. Look at that, there are a ridiculous amount of questions here. So I'm not gonna be able to answer all of them. Okay, I'm not gonna be able to answer all of them. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go over like the most common ones first. We're gonna start out with like, hey, these are the top questions that I get asked, and then we'll kind of go more individual and answer a few, and we'll just see how long this video gets. I don't know. There are a lot here, so we're not gonna be able to do all of them. But thank you guys so much for asking questions. Oh yeah, one more thing to clarify. I'm not going to be answering gear questions in this video. I got a lot of gear questions, probably like, I don't know, a lot. Half of these were gear questions. I don't want to talk about gear questions. I don't want to talk about techniques. This is like a lifestyle video. This is just, questions about me, not questions about my gear. So there was one gear question that I am going to answer, and it is by far the question that I get asked the most on a daily basis, and it kind of drives me insane. I'm not going to lie. The question that I get asked more than any other question, every day I have to open my DM.
What reel is that? Dude, Marsh, what reel is that?
Marshall, I had a quick question for you, dude. What reel is that?
Hey Marsh, what reel is that?
What reel is that?
What reel is that?
Marshall, I have to know. I need better sleep at night. I cannot go to bed at night until I know what kind of reel are you using. Please tell me.
What reel is that?
Marshall, I have a super unique question, dude. I've got to ask, man. What reel is that? I'm just dying to know.
Oh my god. The amount of people that ask me what reel is that. I'm so sorry. Like, I love you guys if you don't know what this is, but the amount of what reel is that I get is absolutely diabolical. And not to burst your bubble, but if you go on Google and you search gold round fishing reel, it's like the second result. Okay, you can look at it right here. Boom. Just find it. I don't know. This is a Googleable question, so I'm not answering that. Okay, so the second most common question on here that I specifically got on this Q&A, this wasn't like a daily thing, is question along the lines of, what is your 10-year plan? What is your 5-year plan? Like, where do you see yourself and wherever? And I like that question. That's a good question. It's very interesting because I don't really know exactly where I'm going to be in 10 years. I kind of just go with the flow. Definitely the goal is to obviously keep chasing the world record. So I could imagine that somewhere in the next, 5 to 10 years, I'm going to buy a house in Japan, or it might change. Wherever the world record is going to be caught out of, probably going to buy a house there or something like that. I couldn't imagine myself buying a house in the US, to be honest. Not that I'm anywhere close to buying a house yet, but I just don't really see it happening here. It's either going to happen in some secret lake in South America that we got to go do an Indiana Jones mission to, or South Africa or Japan, right? So I'd like to buy a house there. That would be pretty cool. But other than that, like, 5-year plan, I don't know. I just want to keep getting better at fishing. Like, that is my ultimate goal, is to just keep being out there, keep being on the water, keep getting better, and hopefully, in the next 10 years, I'll be closer to catching the world record. That's the ultimate goal. I would like to upgrade the van, of course. I think we're going to be within the range of updating the van probably next year. I'm going to drive Ethel until she explodes. Don't get me wrong. I love Ethel. That she has taken me so far and got me so many places. But I think, eventually when she does blow up, I got to be ready. I am going to get something new. I'd like to get something I could stand up in. That would be very cool. I might even just make payments on something because I'm getting to the point where I might actually be able to make payments on a new van, and that would be cool. I could just replace that with a rent payment. And I'm kind of scared because that's a big step, and that's like going to be the fanciest thing I've ever bought in my entire life. Because I just kind of just live right now. I just live with all this used old bullshit that I have. And it's going to be crazy to buy a new van. And I hope that doesn't kind of take away from my relatability. But you guys have been here. If you're watching this Q&A, if you're already this far into the video, you've probably watched some of my other videos and you're probably invested. And I appreciate that. I like that. You guys have been watching my journey the whole time. I'm really passionate about this. I want to do this for a living, completely full-time. It is full-time right now. Barely. Can't afford an apartment or anything, but it is full-time. And I just want to keep growing it. I want to give back. I want to teach you guys stuff. I want to inspire you. I don't know. That makes me excited. I like making videos. So that's where I see myself in 10 years. Doing the same old thing, just maybe a little fancier with a little more money. So another question that I got that was all across the board, I got this one probably five or six times, is what is your favorite place to fish? Like, where has been the most memorable? And that is really, really difficult because I've fished in a lot of places. I've fished in Cali, I've fished in Florida, I've fished in Texas, up north, Minnesota. And it's hard to just pick one place to be like, yeah, this is 100% my favorite. I love Texas, and Texas always draws me back in just because of like, it's my home. It's Southern hospitality, just everything about it. I grew up in Texas, and I just love the wildlife. I love the people. I really enjoy Texas, and I'll always come back to Texas in some fashion. Florida has been really, really awesome to me this year, just meeting people and just getting around. And I don't know, just general enjoyment of Florida fishing has been very high this year. Maybe it's just because it's summertime. I don't know, but I've just been enjoying myself. Caught a corn snake the other night. That was really cool. Just little things have been happening where I'm like, man, I've been enjoying Florida. And then Minnesota, honestly, has been one of my other favorite places to fish. Like between Minnesota, Florida, and Texas, those three are just like hands down the best. Like these are some of the best states I've ever fished. Minnesota is just one of those states where you can go up there and you're gonna catch fish. You know what I mean? Like you can go up there and absolutely tear them up. And that's incredible. I love that. You know what I mean? I love to just go up there and whoop on some fish every once in a while. I think you need it. Your brain needs it, especially if you fish someplace like Cali or Texas. I don't know if I'd put Florida in there, but there's some tough spots in Florida. Depends where you're fishing, depends what you're fishing, but Minnesota just has so much water that you can never get bored there. You know what I mean? Like there's always, you go chase smallies, you go chase muskies, pike, largemouth, walleye, like whatever you want to catch. And there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of lakes, literally thousands of lakes that just don't really get fished that hard. You know, maybe you got little weekend anglers that come out, but they're not getting fished like a Texas lake would or a Cali lake would. So you can just go up there and I can know, 100%. This fish have never seen a Q-bomb, you know what I mean, or a swim bait. Like they don't see this stuff. So between Texas, Florida, and Minnesota, I'm gonna put those in a top 3 somewhere. No order in particular, but those are my 3 favorite places to fish in the whole wide world. But I also, like I said, I haven't been outside the U.S. very much, so there might be a day coming soon where I'll find another place to fish that is amazing, just as amazing, if not more amazing than those 3 states. Okay, now we're going to get into the more like specific questions. These are questions just from people that I only saw once, but I thought they were good questions, so we'll go ahead and hop in here. LucasSort2 asked, what is the most expensive item you have ever had stolen, if you have, in quotes? It's a good question. I've actually had some pretty expensive stuff stolen. This was before Ethel. I've never had Ethel broken into, which is great. Fingers crossed. Knock on wood. I don't hear some wood. Knock on wood. But back when I had my car, my Hyundai, that little POS Hyundai, I actually got that broken into and they stole like my little lockbox, which had my social security card, my passport, birth certificate, basically everything that you need to just, fake my identity, which was great. That was not, I don't know if that's considered the most expensive. That one definitely hurt the most. Another thing that I had stolen, back when I was in the Tundra, this was way back, right? Back when I was in the Tundra, the right side door never locked. I couldn't lock it because I couldn't get it unlocked. So it It just had to stay unlocked. And yeah, so somebody opened the door, took my bass guitar out, which was really sad. It was an Ibanez, and that one was really upsetting. It was like a $300, $350 bass guitar, which is not like crazy expensive, but I definitely remember opening my truck and being like, oh, like that sucks. That is not good. I really liked that bass guitar. It was teal. I don't know if there's any videos of it out there, but it was like teal and had this cool like crystal pattern. I don't know. It was just a 4-string, generic old fretted bass guitar. I love that thing. Played it, and yeah, it got stolen from me. So that was very sad. All right, another question from Smoke and Bass Fishing. Said, will you be fasting again, and how did it help you or hurt you? I like that question. I didn't really go into detail like post fast. Like maybe I talked about it like the day after and the next day, but I didn't really go into super detail like a few weeks later. So yeah, I'll just talk about it here. Will I be fasting again? Possibly. I won't be fasting again for 7 days. I did a full 7-day fast, or almost. I did 6.5 days, whatever you want to call it. I won't be fasting again for 7 days. I think 7 is kind of ridiculous, but I think fasting for 3 days probably will have a lot of benefits for me in the future. I think what it did mainly, the first thing, is it cleared my skin up. Just everything, like my skin, my hair, like all the oils in my body. I feel like they all reset. I didn't have any acne, no like rosacea, no nothing. Like it was just gone. And I woke up and I was like, whoa, my skin is just, it feels clean and good. My hair, like the tips of my hair felt really good. I think it just got rid of a lot of the bullshit in my body, like I said. But I don't think going 7 days was really completely necessary. Probably lost a little bit of muscle, and that's okay. You know what I mean? You can get that back. But it was an interesting experiment. Like I said, a lot of people in the comments were like, oh, dude, fasting is the best thing ever. Like, you gotta do this. Like, and then the other side, there was no in between. It was like, dude, it was either the best thing ever for some people, or they were like, dude, hell no, this is awful for you. You don't need to do this. Just eat right. Da 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 da. And I was like, okay, well, there's obviously a conflicting opinion here. So let me just hop on and like try it. You know what I mean? You can't knock it till you try it. I didn't have an opinion going into it. I was just like, I want to know what the answer is. So obviously I can just know from personal experience now. I think fasting for 3 days is good for a lot of people. I think that would be a good experience. 7 days, I don't think you really need to do 7 days. That's kind of ridiculous. It was just a challenge, okay? and I did it. I wanted to challenge myself. So I might do 3 days in the future, like I said, just to kind of clear out, reset a little bit. Yeah, fasting. It was cool. I'm glad I did it. Probably won't do it again for that long at least. Next question is from Junior Pack SSS. He said, what made you start paddleboard fishing? And by the way, you put paddleboard fishing on the map. Thank you, sir. I don't know if I was originally, I don't know if I did that originally, but there were people paddleboard fishing before me. I was not the first one to do it, but I did start on my own. It was just something that came out of necessity. So basically, if you guys don't know the story, I've told this on a couple of podcasts, but I'll give you the quick little rundown. Me and my buddy Juan, long time ago, we were like, hey, there's this lake that we want to go fish, but it's private, right? And it's stocked, it's managed, and it costs $1,500 a day to fish. And we were like, dude, we're not going to pay that, right? Obviously, we're not going to pay that, but we do want to fish it, okay? So we're going to do a little ninja mission, right? So me and Juan were like, dude, we were brainstorming. We were like, hey, man, how could we get on this lake, right? Like, how could we get on this lake and fish it from a vessel, right? Without having to, carry the kayaks in. Like, we wouldn't be able to carry the kayaks in, like, obviously. So we're looking on Amazon, we're looking at inflatable tubes, you know what I mean, stuff like that. And then I'm like, oh, dude, Juan, look at this paddleboard, look at this inflatable paddleboard. It's got a backpack and everything. So just on a whim, we were like, okay, well, here we go. These are $200. Let's just order them, and we can carry them in and blow them up right there, and then we can fish the lake as we want, right, for free. Very awesome. So we did it. We jumped the just giant game fence that was like 15 foot tall with the paddleboards on our back, hiked in 2 miles, blew them up right next to the lake, started fishing. We actually ended up skunking that night, which was absolutely insane. But even though we skunked, this night changed my life forever. Because while we're sitting there fishing, I'm like, oh, I could drop my legs in the water, right? Okay, whatever. It's a nice little March night. It's kind of warm. I'm fishing, and I'm like, oh, dude, I can like control the nose of my board with my feet, right? So while I'm fishing, I'm just kind of figuring this out, how to fish, get the cadence right with my feet. And so we end up fishing the whole night. Like I said, we skunked, we leave, and then I get a call from Juan. Hey man, you want to go fishing this week? Yeah. And then he's like, do you want to just take the paddleboards out instead of the kayaks? And I'm like, yeah. So we just take them to the home lake. Never got on the kayaks after that again. It just made too much sense the way we like to fish. Very stealthy, very subtle, slow and steady. And we had so much control that it was like, oh my God, this is something that I have not seen anyone doing yet. I'd seen people fish off paddleboards, but they all like to stand up on them. And I was like, dude, you can sit down and straddle it like a surfboard, and you can control the nose of your board. You can kick forward, you can hold in the wind. It just, to me, it made sense. I was like, dude, this is ultimate freedom on the water, and it's the quietest way to do it, besides getting a trolling motor, like obviously. But a trolling motor will never be more quiet than my feet. So that is how I got into paddleboard fishing. It came out of necessity and just the need to adapt. So if you guys are watching this right now, like I said, it may not be a paddleboard that's your ideal vessel, but there might be something out there that you're missing that you might need to just be like, okay, open up your mind a little bit. Get creative. What could I use around me? Is it going to be a float tube? Is it going to be a kayak? Is it going to be a paddleboard? Is it going to be some new thing that nobody's talked about yet? Is it just going to be bank fishing? There's all kinds of options out there, and if you're getting creative, you're going to find something that works really well for you. And once you find that thing that you really enjoy fishing off of or fishing from, just absolutely lean into all the advantages of that. For me, like I said, it's the stealth of the paddleboard. I just lean into the stealth as much as I can, and I feel like I have really good success doing it. So that's the paddleboard story. Really great one. I'm glad I didn't pay $1,500 to fish that lake. All right, next question from T_Briggs6. He said, do you use cannabis? This is actually a question that I get kind of a lot. This should have been in the other question, but I have actually never had a sip of alcohol. I have never hit anything in my life. I've never smoked anything, never taken any drugs, except for the one time I broke my collarbone and they put me on drugs to put me under. But other than that, I have never done a recreational drug. I know that it's like, that is the stereotype. People are like, oh, dude, this guy definitely smokes weed, like, da-da-da. And, like, I get it. I look the part, okay? I look like Shaggy. I look like Spicoli, like, whatever you want to call me. There's a whole bunch of, there's a list of the names. But, yeah, I have never once in my life had a sip of alcohol or smoked anything. So I've never been high, no nicotine, no nothing, dude. My only vice is caffeine, okay? I love caffeine. But, yeah, there's the answer for you guys who are wondering. All right, this is another good question from Alex_Fishy18. He said, what do you do on those days when you just have zero motivation, zero energy? I like this question because I get these days a lot. It may seem like, oh, I put out this like perfect life on social media where I'm always just pumped up, ready to go to the gym, ready to go out. No, everybody has those dog days, and I don't care who you are or what you say. You know what I mean? Oh, I'm a vegan or I'm a carnivore and I never have, I'm never lack of energy or anything like that. Like, no, dude, everybody is going to have those days no matter what you do. And a lot of times what I think in my head is I'm like, okay, you know what? What can I do today? I have zero energy. I just want to lay around and rot, right? It just happens. The thing that I always come back to is like, okay, what can I get done? Can I edit a reel? Can I edit a video? Can I clean the van a little bit? Do something? And as long as I do my best, right? If you did if all that you could do that day was that, clean your van, that was your best. You gave it your all. That's all you could do, right? Like, and I'm not saying use this as an excuse to just lay around every day, but pick one little thing, do something, and be like, okay, I got at least that done. And, maybe wake up the next day. Maybe you're going to feel better. Days just come at highs and lows. You know what I mean? Some days I wake up and I'm like, dude, I don't want to pick up the camera. I don't want to film a YouTube video. And some days I don't. Some days I wake up and I'm like, oh, I need to film a video today. And then I just don't. It just doesn't come to me, right? And like, that's okay. The big thing is just leaving that behind you, right? Have your lazy day, right? Eat a junk food, like whatever you're going to do. Have it. Leave it behind you. Next day is another day. You'll wake up. You'll feel different, you know what I mean? Maybe get your caffeine in, maybe do whatever you need to, but just keep moving. That is the big thing. Definitely don't stop moving. If you keep moving, if you keep doing something, like I said, even if it's a little thing, if you did it that day, you did your best. And that's boom. Could you have done any better than your best? So that's my advice there, right? I know that's not very sound advice, but you can't beat yourself up over it, right? But you also can't just let yourself fall into the nothingness. You got to take a little victory so the next day you're ready for a bigger victory. I hope that makes sense. I don't know. Like I said, I have my days all the time, actually, probably 2 or 3 times a week where I'm just like, oh God, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to film today. I don't want to do nothing. Another thing that probably helps, this is like another just afterthought here, talking to your friends, right? Like I always get on and maybe, you know, if I'm not feeling motivated, I'll call up Jared or I'll call up Jeffrey or I'll call up Kyle and be like, hey guys, like, what, you know, I just need some motivation. Like just lay it on me, right? And I don't think motivation is a good thing to be reliant on. I think you should be more consistent than motivated, but every once in a while, like I said, it's kind of like caffeine. If you get to the end of the day and you're like, oh God, I need to go to the gym, and I just don't want to go to the gym. If I hit this caffeine, right? If I drink a little caffeine and I get pumped up and I go into the gym and it makes me better, fine. You know what I mean? It's just like the motivation. If you need to have a little motivation to get yourself into a better spot, then maybe that helps. But don't rely on it. That's for sure. Don't rely on the caffeine. Don't rely on the motivation, right? Just use it as a tool to help yourself when you're feeling low, if that makes sense. So it's about balance. So that's my tip there. That's my life lesson. Another question that I saw a few times on here was, what new rod company are you working with? And are you leaving Leviathan on bad terms? Not leaving Leviathan on bad terms. This is just something that I'm very excited to work on. I can't say too much about it yet. So if this is the first time you're hearing about it, there's something cool coming. Not going to say too much. Working on a really cool project. I'm very excited about it. I love the guys over at Leviathan. No hard feelings at all. This is just the progression of the Homeless Fisherman. I just got to go for new things, and I like to do things that I can have a big part in, right? This is a company that I'm going to have a big part in, and it's going to be new and it's going to be exciting, and I'm stoked to just create something. It's like a nice little creative outlet, and I hope you guys are going to be stoked on it too. But anyway, I can't say too much. I don't want to say too much. I just wanted to drop that little hint there. So yeah, new rod stuff. I don't know what's happening. This question from Corey Visuals. It says, when do you finally get to go to Japan? I guess I'm just going to break the news here, right? This is something that's been building up for a couple weeks. I'm actually going to Japan in October. I'm very excited. You guys heard it here first. We got a G-Crack team trip going to Japan, and I am beyond stoked. I didn't know when I was going to tell you guys that this was going to happen, but I figured like, hey, you know what? You asked. Here you go. I'll tell you. I don't need to keep it a secret. I am pretty stoked about it. There's a lot that needs to be done. There's a lot of prep work. But yeah, I am stoked to be finally going to the country where the world record resides. That's honestly insane thinking about that. That is another, like, it gives me goosebumps, like, thinking about it, right? Like, that is another step, you know, that I am taking, like a big step to get me closer to my life goal. I'm like, dude, that's actually insane, because it's not very often that you just take a good step towards something like that, especially when you set a goal that is ridiculous. Like when you set a goal and people laugh at you when you say it, it's like, oh dude, like, when am I going to get this done? But I'm making a step, right? Like, I'm making a step this October, and that is very exciting. So there's some Japan content coming soon. I'm maybe not soon, but you know, here in the next few months, there will be some Japan content out there, which I'm very excited. I want to do something very original. I want to do something fun. Like, of course, I want to do some vlogs, but I want to make a piece too, like a creative piece, just for the culture. It won't be a clickbaity million-view video, but it will be a good video that I am passionate about, something that is going to be super fun. That'll just be, you know, my experience in fishing and all that stuff. So yeah, Japan in October. I'm stoked. So this next question is from SoCal_Bendo, and he said, what is your favorite job that you've ever had? Your old Vans job made me get a job there. So if you don't know, I used to work at Vans. I used to work at Lowe's. I've had a few jobs, right? Probably my favorite two jobs that I've just had the most fun at. Vans was really cool, just working at the shoe store and just chilling, and it's like a kind of a corporate job, you know what I mean? But it's also like the vibe was a little more chill. I met a couple of cool people working at Vans. Got a sick discount. I had a bunch of Vans at one time. Now I just have my one pair of skate highs because I don't wear shoes, but it was a fun job. It was enjoyable, and it was cool, like, seeing all the collabs and stuff right there in the store. But definitely the most fun job that I've ever had my entire life was working at the food truck Burrow Cheese Kitchen in downtown Austin. That was definitely my favorite job. Just everything about that job, the culture, the food truck people, the people who work there, just like the events and stuff like that. Everything was so much fun, and it was always changing and different, and it's like very fast paced, And it was just fun because it's also kind of one of those jobs where they just are like, here you go, do this, and you kind of get to go in the food truck by yourself and just work. You get to decide the workflow, you know what I mean, that works for you. And it was very fun. It was very fun to just sling grilled cheese, and I met a lot of cool people. Like, you guys probably knew I worked there and came by and said what's up. Like, and that was sick. I was like, dang, this is cool. Like, I'm just sitting here slinging grilled cheese. That was my gig for a long time, and now I don't have a job except for this, which is insane to me that I have, like, 12,000 YouTube subs, and like I can make a living doing this stuff, like barely, but I can. Yeah, I don't have to have a job anymore, which is really sick. So like I said, it's all the progression. But yeah, Burrow was definitely my favorite job ever. That job was super duper fun. The food truck scene, if you ever get the chance to work at a food truck, especially like a local one, a cool one, do it. Like, do it. If you live in a big city and you want to work at a food truck, it's so fun. It is so fun. It's hard work, but it's nice. It's so much fun. All right, I like this question. I have a really good answer for it. So from Max Lockstat, Max_Lockstat, what's a quote that sticks with you to this day, helps you get through life? So this is actually a quote that I heard fairly recently. It was just something I came across, and my buddy Brian sent it to me on Instagram, but it was very profound. We read it and I was like, wow, that makes a lot of sense. The quote is, "It's already yours, you just have to go get it." I love that, right? I absolutely love that quote. That quote, it like floods into my brain every once in a while when I'm not feeling super good. I hear it and I'm like, oh, like, what am I thinking? I'm just sitting around like, dude, it's already mine. I just have to go get it. God, that's hard. That's a hard quote, right? That just makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, the world record is already mine. I just have to go get it. Love that quote. So I hope that was a good answer for you. All right, so this next question is from Mr. Matthew Gonzalez. He said, could someone do what you do without any sponsors? How much is it a month to live freely? So yeah, I absolutely think anyone could do this without sponsors. I used to do it without sponsors, or I used to work with companies, but I never actually got paid. So I was just working regular jobs and doing what I do. Very, very possible, because it is actually surprisingly easy to keep your monthly cost, like full cost of living, under $1,000. And I've even like really tested it. If you go back to my Florida series from earlier this year in like January and February, I was pushing the limit. I was like really trying to penny pinch and save. I think I got it under $800 at one point, where I was like, for everything, gas, food, every single thing that I needed, butane, cooking fuel, like everything that I needed, it was under $800. So, I mean, hey, if you can make $1,500 a month at a regular job, you could do this, right? You just got to get the right equipment. Also, I have a van that runs really well, which I'm very lucky. I paid $4,000 for Ethel total. Did a few modifications. I'm probably like $6,000 into it. So I'm not saying that you can just buy whatever van and then just do this. But if you already have an SUV, or if you have something that might actually work, you can just rig it out and do what I do. It's not insanely difficult. It is definitely like, there are sacrifices you make, like not being able to just have instant access to a shower, or not being able to have running water, or like just, little things like that some people are not willing to give up. And that's okay. I understand, because staying in an apartment is freaking awesome. Like right now, like I get to go shower and shave and do whatever I want. It's nice. But also, if you live in an apartment, you can't wake up on the lake. You know what I mean? You can't wake up at the boat ramp where you want to be fishing that day, or the next day. Or you can't just be like, all right, I'm going to drive to Florida. Like there are pros and cons to this, you know what I mean? And it's not for everybody, but I definitely think if you are even thinking about it, if you're like, oh man, I don't really have any responsibilities, I don't really have anything to do, you should go for it. Like, why not? You know what I mean? It might be a little annoying, and it might be a little bit of a struggle for a little while, but you get to go explore and adventure and like do whatever you want pretty much. Seems like a no-brainer to me, but that's just how I look at it. All right, so these two questions are kind of the same. One is from Charlie Paris 4, and then one is from Sir Roger. They're basically asking about burnout in fishing, right? Like, hey, like fishing every day is a job. Like, does that burn you out? And yeah, I'm not gonna lie, there are definitely times where I am like burnt out on fishing. I've found a pretty good cycle of how I keep myself from getting burned out and like keep myself enjoying it. Number one is realizing that you are not going to be able to fish for 8 to 12 hours a day every single day. That is impossible. When you have a 9 to 5 and you work 5-6 days a week and you get your 1 or 2 days off, going out and fishing for 12 hours is like, it's easy. It's like a no-brainer for most people, right? Because you're like, oh, I need to make the most of this time. But if you fish every day as a job, like, you cannot go out and fish for that long. It's going to destroy you. It's going to destroy your body. It's going to destroy your mind. It's just not going to happen. So I typically, and people, this always like blows people's mind. One, I never wake up early. I have not woken up early to go fishing in years, right? Like, I don't wake, maybe once in a while whenever buddy's like, hey man, meet me at the boat ramp at 4:30. I'm like, okay, fine. But I don't, for my own fishing, I don't wake up early. I don't get on the water till about, usually between 11 and 1. I get out in the middle of the day. And the second thing is that I'm only fishing for about 4 hours a day-ish, right? So I like the 4-hour range. So I'll get out, right? And if it's just garbage, if I'm 2 hours in and it's garbage and I know nothing's going to happen, I'll just leave, right? I'll just leave. It's okay, right? I don't have to sit out there and bang my head against the wall, try and make something happen. If 2 hours in, 2.5 hours in, I'm like, dude, I'm just not feeling it, I get out of there, right? But if I have a good day, I'm 4 hours in and I'm still catching them, okay, well, I'll stay out 6 hours, you know what I mean? Then it feels better. So then the next day I feel more motivated. Like I said, I think the main thing is not beating your head against the wall in terms of your fishing, like going out and just absolutely pounding yourself. Like, there is something to be said for, like time on the water. You need to have your line in the water to get bit. But on the other hand, you know what I mean? I think the consistency of doing it every day for a little bit is a lot more important. Going to the gym for 2 hours once a week is not going to do anything. But going and working out for, 30 minutes a day, which is like under what you should be doing, is going to do a lot more for you, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? So it's better to spread it out and be more consistent, like, because that over time that will add up to more. That's what I usually view it as. So I don't wake up early and I fish for like 4 hours a day. It seems crazy. A lot of people think that's crazy, but yeah, that's how I go about it. So this is a good question. It's pretty open-ended, but I like it. From Elias07, it says, what gave you the confidence to just go for it all? And I like this question because it doesn't really have like a specific, I don't know exactly what you're talking about, go for it all, but I'm just going to assume that, like, my life goal, right? Like, I have a promise to keep, right? Like, I have a promise to catch the world record, right? I promised Juan, right? And it would make me so upset to meet up with him later, right, in the afterlife and be like, yo, dude, what's up? Like, I didn't do it, or I didn't try hard. Like, I want to meet up with him and be like, yo, I either did it, number one, like, dude, I did it, or number two, I gave it everything I had, dog. Like, I went to the very end, and you know what I mean? I need to be able to like give him a good handshake and be like, dude, I absolutely went for it. And I need a good commendable effort, right? That is what pushes me, right? So if I cannot keep my promise, if I can't keep the word to my best friend, or a word to myself, like, what does my word mean? What does any of this stuff that I'm telling you even matter? You know what I mean? Like, no, you are what you do, right? And you do what you say. That's what it should be. It should be like, you know what I mean, say as you do and do as you say. I don't like it when people throw out, oh yeah, I want to do this and da-da-da, or like throwing excuses at me. No, just do it. Like, I have to do it. There is no other option. I don't want to say hollow things like that. Like, if I say something on the camera here, or if I say something to you in person, like, I mean it. Like, I'm not kidding. There's no point in me like beating around the bush here. You know what I mean? Like, I'll be honest, and maybe some people don't like that when I'm brutally honest, but that's it. That's how I live my life. That's what gave me the confidence to go for it all, is that I have to prove, you know what I mean? Like, I have to prove myself. I made the promise, and I'm not just going to fall through on that. Like, because then again, right, if I fall through on that, who can trust me? No one, not a single person, because I don't do what I say, and I don't do what, say what I do. So that's what drives me. That's what sends me to the ends of the earth looking for this goal. Okay, I'm not gonna stop. Okay, we're gonna get it, and hopefully it'll be on footage. But even if it's not on footage, I don't care. It could be a random bank session at night, whatever. As long as I do it, as long as I know I'm not gonna certify the record when I get it. I just don't care. It's not for IGFA. It's for me and for Juan. You know what I mean? Like, that is just not something that I'm very interested in. I have to prove it to myself. You know what I mean? And my best friend. So that is what gives me the confidence to continue on, to go for it all. I like that question. Thank you, sir. All right, this question is from Cooper Smith 294. He said, what did you want to be growing up? In quotes, love the content. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you watching. I like this question because I wanted to be Steve Irwin. Like, that was my goal. Like, I wanted to be Steve Irwin. And you know what? I feel like I didn't land very far from that. I'm in that area, and I'm happy with it, right? I wanted to be the crocodile hunter. I wanted to go on and not replace, but do something similar. You know what I mean? And inspire people like he inspired me. And like I said, I feel like I got pretty close. I'm happy about it, and it's all thanks to you people. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. All right, this question is from Buck Photos. He said, "Who played the ninja in your videos?" What do you mean? Who played the ninja? That's a real ninja, okay? Jedi Knight 0816 said, "Would you rather fight 100 duck-sized Kyles or one Kyle-sized duck?" This is probably the best question that I've gotten so far. 100 duck-sized Kyles or one Kyle-sized duck. I think I'm gonna have to say, because 100 is a lot. Like, that is a lot of little people to be fighting, right? Like, even if they're little, like, they could be biting me on the ankles, like crawling on me. I think I'm gonna say the Kyle-sized duck, because I feel like I could just take on a big duck. Ducks aren't too scary. Like, they'd bite me, but I feel like I could just grab its beak right here, right? Like, beat it up. I don't know. 100 duck-sized Kyles sounds pretty terrifying to me. So yeah. All right, Squids419 says, "Tell us about your Spotify playlist." All right, let's go on Spotify right now. I'm just gonna list off a couple things. Ailstorm. Ailstorm is one of my favorite bands of all time. I love Ailstorm. Toxic Holocaust. I love Toxic Holocaust. We got Power Trip on here. We got Swashbuckle. I bet you guys have never heard of Swashbuckle. This is like secret hidden pirate metal that no one knows about. Okay. First Fragment. I love Tech Death. Okay. First Fragment. Eternal Glory. This is the best album ever. I absolutely love, like, the Spanish influence with the Tech Death stuff. Very, very cool. Yeah. I like power metal. I like flamenco. I like tech death. I like hardcore. I like stuff that gets me hyped, okay? I like pirate metal. All right, I'm a simple man, okay? It gets me hyped up, and it gets me out there, enjoying my life, getting ready to lift weights, getting ready to fish. I like it. Last question. There are a ridiculous amount of questions on here. I really wish I could answer them all, but we would be here all day. I don't even know how long this video is going to be already, but Chander Trip. What's up, Chander? What bait are you going to catch the world record on? I think this is a really good one to leave it on. I don't want to know, right? That would ruin the whole thing. I don't know which bait I'm going to catch it on, and I think that's cool. I think it's going to be a surprise. I think it's going to be something that I just did not even expect to happen, right? Or it'll be the Bellows Gill. Thank you guys so much for watching. This has been the Q&A. We'll have to do more of these, like I said, because there are so many questions on here. I just could not answer them all in one video. So we'll do another one of these in the future. If you guys liked it, drop a comment, do whatever. You know what I mean? You know how to do it all. Go support the Patreon, Archie's College Fund. I appreciate you guys so much for watching. Peace out.